Finally, something is happening that I've talked here about on the channel for some time. I mentioned that I would love to see China taking capital markets more serious and also enable their citizens to profit from their companies and the stock markets and diversify out of real estate and into stocks. And this week we got news, actually already I think yesterday or so, about that China's now really taken the pilot programs to nationwide and enabling workers to open up accounts and with those accounts basically invest part of their pension savings into stocks, bonds and other things. It's currently still quite limited. There's a cap on that. There is limitations in terms of what is going to be included and so on. So it's still in a kind of a pilot phase, but I'm just happy to see this as a signal because I think this is exactly the right step for China to proceed. And I've been talking about this here on the channel for quite some time. I mean, the potential here is obvious. We've got 1.4 billion people. They are getting more and more rich. China wants to, really with this asset class of the real estate sector that has inflated too much, bring it down a little bit and wants to diversify it more. And in the past years we've seen asset prices here with of course also the stock market, but especially in real estate, come down quite a bit because the government wanted it to go to be like that, but also we've seen that I think also globally in the US and Germany and so on, that after the COVID bubble has burst, real estate prices really came down quite everywhere, right? But what we've got the situation now is here in China, people say that this, because people's life savings are more than 60% in real estate, that this has really also affected the consumer mindset in a sense that people just keep on saving and not spending anymore. I have to say, I'm here on the ground now. This is, by the way, Shenzhen. I made it to Shenzhen now after being in Guangzhou for a couple of days. And the way was interesting. This time I didn't take the train, I took the car, and it's really plastered by new high-rises, new train terraces, buildings going up everywhere, the port's busy, the road's busy. In a sense, I cannot really say that I see a slowdown here in China happening, although, it seems to be now the consensus, the opinion of everybody that kind of people here are more conservative now, and the outlook isn't that positive by some people, and therefore because the real estate prices have come down, people are more hesitant to consume. Again, I cannot verify it with my anecdotes that I see here. Yes, I do see some closed shops here and there. I do see change every time I come to China again. There's something old that has been closed and something new that's opening instead of. But generally, I do see people consuming, buying, being happy, and creating new stuff. But we'll see. Over time, I think this will all pan out. I don't think there is a huge unresolvable issue here in China at the current point in time. But we'll see if sentiment will shift more positive again, because I think this is largely a sentiment crisis, maybe also towards the stock. So that's why news like yesterday about what I just said doesn't move the stock market currently, like we've seen, for example, with Hong Kong today. The last time I looked, it was down 2% today. Obviously, such moves should be cheered as pro-growth, pro-capitalism, the economy. Everything should be good. So I think it's more that people are still very hesitant to invest in China currently, maybe because of some uncertainties of how the future will pan out here when it comes to politics and stuff. But I'm more and more positive on that. But we'll see. But the bottom line here is that it should be a generational buying opportunity, not only for those who dare to invest in China, like us, maybe here watching on the channel still, but also for the Chinese themselves, because the fact that they can largely not own some of their great Chinese tech companies yet I think is a bit of a concern, to be honest, right? And with the latest news, it just tells us that there is taken steps more forwards toward that, but it's not there yet. Okay, so far as I've seen, it's really just including some more conservative assets and indexes, but maybe not even the Hong Kong Stock Exchange yet. So this should really be expanded over time, and I think not only should they over time see if this is positively accepted, that they could also raise the caps of how much money people can allocate there and also include more indices and so on. But also I'm hoping that they would improve the Stockmarket Connect and thereby also include more stocks that we are usually also covering here on the channel and talk about, like in, for example, NEO and so on, which is typically not easy to invest in yet for a mainland Chinese person, right? It's only some stocks like Alibaba and so on that are a little bit more accessible now. Now they also have done a primary listing in Hong Kong, but even that stock might not be even included yet in such of a pension 401 type scheme as of now, but I'm hoping for it in the future. So this is why I see this a very positive step, because it's going in small steps, but you see it's definitely happening. And what would this mean ultimately is that over time you have this large crowd of more and more people that can using the stock market and diversify out of real estate and into stock market as a way of wealth creation and for saving for their retirement, similarly than what we're doing in the West or in the US. And therefore this would also secure more inflows, regular inflows by pension funds, by securities and so on, and thereby it hopefully would make the stock markets also less volatile over time. And currently it's very, very short-term oriented. As you can see, sometimes it's spiking a lot on some speculation and news, and then also reverses quickly and so on, right? So that the Chinese, although they are often very long-term thinkers, in the stock markets it's quite the contrary. They're almost like day traders, and that must change hopefully over time. And I'm seeing that as a big fundamental positive change in news and in the right direction. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.